Greetings fellow Kerbal Nauts. This is a video for Harv, Hot Gaming, but I'm also chucking it out there for anyone else that wants to take a look and see what I've done. Harv's asked for people to submit ships to him for his new series. Before I could send in my entry for review, he closed the submissions, which I'm not really surprised given that apparently he's got 100 and odd ships that have already been sent in. So I think this ship is unique, to say the least, and I think you might want it. So I'm going to do the first round of review on it, and hopefully he will like it enough to bend the rules. Well, not so much bend the rules. I have a doctor's note that says I was incapacitated at the time his video went out. So hopefully he will like this enough to facilitate the bending of the rules. So let's go and take a look, shall we? This is the Squished Frog Mk4. As you can see, kind of resembles a squished frog, hence its name. Mk4, because it's the 4th model. Just in case you're wondering, the hot pink is courtesy of my little lighting rover that sat there at the threshold of the runway. Makes landing at night fun. So anyway, the Mk4, this is the Model A, which is just a short run around, is very, very unique. Shall we take a look as to why? First of all, most of the work is done by the SAS. So most of the time you're hands off. And this is where I crash. It is a very forgiving plane, and it's got an excellent glide ratio. And yes, it flies. You can really yank it some. Now the good thing about the Model A, or the Mk4 in total, is that it has a ton of light on it, which is also multicoloured. Pretty nimble, not exactly the quickest thing in the air, but it'll go where you want it to. Now, the squished frogs were never really designed to be airborne. They were designed for one simple purpose. Landing this thing is very simple, by the way. Throttle back to 50%. Nose on the horizon. and let it take care of itself. I'm just going to dip the nose down so that we touch down before we get to the vertical wall. And it's that simple. The squished frogs were designed to go across the rather uneven landscape at significant speed. As you can see here, current speed is 66 meters per second. Which it does quite happily also like flying at. Bring the throttle back a bit more. Touching down on an even surface, yeah, not a problem. It's very quick, very nimble, and likes to go across uneven stuff forever and a day. Right now I am hands off. The SAS is doing all the work for me, so no holding down a key. Ideal speed across the surface of Kerbal. This type of surface is approximately 60 meters per second. It gives it a negative buoyancy, but not too negative. While at the same time, it does indeed maintain nice, stable glides. Well, kind of. Touch on the high side here. Must be in a valley, this bit. Bring it back a bit more. That's better. There's some rough stuff. Again, coming back down, you get an interestingly weird ground effect going on, but it touches down quite happily. And yes, this has been extensively tested, including going over mountains like the one that's in front of me. So the squished frog itself is quite short range. It does have a general tendency to chew through fuel quite quickly, especially when you're flying at speed. I should point out that the warranty is void if you fly it above 20 kilometers on Kerbal's atmosphere. The warranty is also void if you attempt to land in water, even if you use the parachutes. However, there is a variant that does have water landing capability. As you can see here, it's zipping across quite nicely. The suspension is working quite well to not make the landing gear explode. Plenty of lights for night flying. And at what is now 54 almost 55 meters per second across the ground. A bit more throttle. I don't think there are very many things that can go this fast across the ground. Oh no! Steep incline! I'm sorry, I thought you said a steep incline. Yep, got up that, no problem at 50 odd meters per second. Here we are, getting into some rough stuff now. Well, at least I thought we were. Not that rough, is it? Oh, big jump coming. Or not. Could this be some rough stuff coming up? The Squished Frog is equipped with RCS, should you need to use that. It does, of course, while we're waiting, have a micro docking port underneath, just in case you need to refuel it, and 4 parachutes. Although this thing's glide rate is sufficiently impressive that, to be honest, you'll touch down softer without the parachutes. Now coming up to a little bit of an incline here. Oh, going steeper. Not a problem. This thing can handle most things that you can chuck at it, including deep ravines like that. Level it out, pull the nose up and land successfully. Shall we go up another one? Turn to the right a touch because I don't like the look of that peak. Steering's not a problem at these speeds. Let's go ahead and kick the engine up a bit, considering we're going up quite a steep hill here. And we peak. Positive rate of climb. Well, that's a problem. Well, not really. Gives us a chance to show off some of the performance capabilities. Specifically, how well it can actually glide. Since we are starting to get a little bit low on fuel, the Squished Frog Mk4 is of course capable of extended duration with its other models and variants. The Model A, which is this one, has an extended fuel tank option to give it many hours of service capability. So we're quite happily cruising 2,000 meters high above sea level, and we're accelerating at 2/3 thrust, which means we'll be back at the KSC shortly. even at this speed it's going to take a while. So let's kick it up, pitch the nose up, and we'll go even faster. The Squished Frog Mk4 Model A peaks out at just under 20 kilometers and approximately 1200 meters per second, or 1.2 kilometers per second. It has a built-in RTG, which means you will never run out of power. So now we want to test the glide capabilities. So go ahead and turn away from the runway, sort of. A bit like that. And let's go ahead and dump all the fuel. Oh dear, we have run out of fuel. Not a problem. Cut the throttle. And close the air intakes. Keep the nose on the horizon. And she'll glide and glide and glide. What do you mean puff? The Squished Frog Mk4 is modelled after those insane frogs that like to leap from branches and fly through the air, which is basically what this one does. So let's go ahead and turn towards the runway here. Again, keeping the nose around about the horizon. Stupid keyboard, behave. Now, of course, we have plenty of monopropellant, and of course we have RCS. One of the safety features with the Mk4 is that it has rear-facing RCS jets, which, as you can see, allow us to extend the glide. But we're not going to use RCS. Another of the main features of the Mk4 Squished Frog is the boredom. It is stable in flight so that you do not need to do anything. You don't need to have your hands on the control constantly. You also don't need to constantly make course corrections due to sideways slipping or differential thrust from engines. It would appear we might be a little bit high. Probably should have done a couple of loops or something. The Mk4 Squished Frog does not necessarily need a runway to land on. Most hard surfaces will do quite nicely. Even those that are a tad on the rough side. The lights from the underside are quite bright even during the day. And a nice, successful touchdown. And no Kerbals were harmed. Darn it! And of course you can slam on the brakes without the thing flipping over. Now the other models and variants that are available. The Model A is also available with the extra fuel tanks for those extended missions. The external fuel tank that is slung underneath is of course detachable should you need to get rid of it when it's empty. Caution must be used when dropping the tank when you're travelling across the ground at speed. The Model B variant is an SSTO. It is capable of just about reaching orbit from Kerbal runway. The Model B features a micro docking port on the top of the main fuselage, whereas the Model A features the micro docking port on the underneath of the main fuselage. The Model B is capable of reaching orbital velocity at just over 70 kilometers high. Barely. I'm in the night side. Right. Yeah, barely. Re-entry is of course quite simple. Once you hit the atmosphere, keep the nose on the horizon and you will glide safely back down to the surface of Kerbal. Just don't put it in the water. The SSTO Model B variant has a safety feature that allows you to ditch the bottom tank, just in case you do need to extend your glide back to the safety of the KSC. And that is the two main variants of the Mk4 Squished Frog. Yes, it looks like a squished frog, doesn't it? Hopefully, people will like the Mk4 Squished Frog. Anyone that wants it, give me a holler and I'll send it across. All three of them. If I make any other variants in the meantime, I will send them across. And of course, this uses standard parts. Everything is standard, unfortunately. But I will be making a variant of the Mk4 that uses non-standard parts at some point. But anyway, I hope you like this video. I'm CW, and once again we didn't crash at all. We're going to have to do something about that.